Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a severe thunderstorm with partly sunny skies. It'll be breezy, very warm, and very humid. Thunderstorms could bring flooding downpours, hail, and damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 88 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Shawnfest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/Shawnfest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacenta.
Sleep and relaxation just got smarter. The Z-Cliner by FlexSteel combines comfort with durable design, featuring custom adjustments like headrest, lumbar, heat, and massage, helping you unwind the right way. Whether you're watching TV or taking a well-earned break, Z-Cliner is built for you. Comfort, customization, and FlexSteel quality all in one chair. Experience the Z-Cliner by FlexSteel at Slumberland.
Born on America's darkest day, September 11th, 01, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, they have helped American heroes ever since. Heroes like United States Navy Chief Shannon Kent. Kent was killed in a suicide bombing, leaving behind her husband, Joseph, their 2 kids. Tunnel to Towers honored her sacrifice and paid off the family mortgage, giving them security forever. Donate $11 a month. Maybe you have a car to donate, land to donate. Please go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Join Illinois Family Action for the Save America Rally, 7 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Former U.S. Comptroller General David M. Walker, along with businessman and author Joe Penland Sr., will offer big, bold, and practical solutions for fixing Social Security and protecting other vital programs from the reach of those who preach for communism in America. And during the Save America Rally, hopeful messages for the land of Lincoln from key Illinois candidates Darren Bailey for governor, Don Tracy for U.S. Senate, and James Martyr for Congress. Go to IllinoisFamilyAction.org for more information. IFA's David Smith.
Join us as we stand together to save America.
The Save America Rally is free. Be there Tuesday, August 4th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Find out more at IllinoisFamilyAction.org. Paid for by Illinois Family Action.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Robertson.
And I'm Corey Robertson.
We partnered with Ekko. It's a new platform, not just streaming.
Movies and series that are safe for your family. Ekko. I love a podcast.
Plus, Ekko Daily Devotionals.
Ekko. Hey, Willie, what is Ekko?
Ekko is my pet squirrel.
Okay, now, Ekko is not just faith-friendly, it is faith-driven.
Be a part of something better.
Ekko.
Ekko.
That's where I want to be.
That's EKKL.com.
Subscribe now.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
All right, so welcome. Thanks for joining us today. You can also watch us at the Breakthrough Ideas Facebook page, Breakthrough Ideas YouTube page, or also the AM 560 Facebook page as well. So you can listen to that. You can follow us on our podcast too.
Yeah.
But Amy, as normal, you come after a weekend, and what do you have? You have multiple teen takeovers. You have a mass shooting.
Where do you want to begin?
Yes. I don't know where I want to begin. I actually want to begin right here, though. Shoppers were enjoying a beautiful summer day in Naperville, but they had to dodge protesters who were marching on the sidewalks against ICE. The average age, Amy, appeared to be about early 70s.
Okay.
I think they missed their protest days.
I'm just laughing because you asked me if I was at the corner of Naperville Road and Roosevelt, or where?
Well, that was a guy, so I knew it wasn't you.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was like maybe a member of your family or something you had sent there. Yes, last night at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, there's a guy in his, flag Speedo with his 2 signs showing,
Sorry.
Strip ice.
Strip ice, anti-ice is bad. Trump is bad. I'd have
bring
to
back
tell you.
decency, make decency great again was his other sign. I mean, what the heck?
Well, he's saying bring back decency while he's wearing a Speedo and flip-flops. I mean, I know it's hot out, and he wasn't at the beach or a pool in the middle of the intersection. But these people think that they're actually doing something. In Chicago, they came up with a new song. Okay, here we go, Jeannie. Tell me if you like it.
Protesters raising their voices in song today.
Yes. What do you think? Well, here's the deal. There's protests and vigils all over and all the big Dem cities, Los Angeles, Houston, San Francisco, to protest ICE. They called it a national day of action now, following those recent fatal shootings by ICE agents, the one in Maine, where once again could have stopped.
That's right.
One in Houston, once again, could have stopped, but instead the guy in Maine, he was driving his car in circles. It's like they have the wrong guy, that. Just pull over and talk to them.
Yes.
Have a conversation. They'll tell you, you can show them your ID. Okay, we have the wrong person. Have a nice day. Sorry for taking up some of your time. But instead they use their vehicles to try and hit them or just try and avoid being pulled over.
Yeah,
it's stupid. And then people end up dead.
No,
and I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Naperville protests were bringing back the whole Renee Good, Alex Preddy killings as well. There's been actually very few of these incidents, and they're all unfortunate, but they wouldn't have happened had people not interfered with ICE operations and had obeyed lawful orders from law enforcement. But when people continue to not do that, guess what? Things can get out of hand. But you know who they should have been protesting against? They should have been protesting Pritzker. And the fact that he's allowed these illegal aliens to invade our state. Of course, let's remember Yanio Muro, the Venezuelan national, who illegally entered the U.S. during the Biden regime, was arrested in Pingree Grove and charged with stalking, kidnapping, and raping a developmentally disabled 9-year-old girl as she rode her bike outside her home. Where was the protest for them? Instead, you've got these 70s hippies marching down beautiful Naperville streets while everybody else is going about their business on a gorgeous Saturday. And this is what they're protesting instead.
312-642-5600. The phone lines are open. You can also text us. And also, teen takeovers. There was a huge one. When I say huge, I mean close to 1,000 people. Kids, mostly kids, outside the green CTA stop near Ogden Park. And Ogden Park is where they've had plenty of block parties. And what they did this time, Jeannie, they gathered them around. They tried to stop as many as they could. They formed a circle around them and then try to contact their parents. Here's this guy, Justin Peters. He's with Chi-Town Crime Chasers.
I didn't raise property
Oh, no,
taxes,
that is
as
not
you know.
it. Here he is.
We had a teen takeover. It would start off as a block party. It got shut down. The kids went over to Ogden Park. They started hanging out and dancing. There wasn't too much violent activity. They just started walking. They just started to walk around. And it was one fight. We broke up. So we're trying to disperse them and send them on the train, call their rides, and we're trying to get the parents to come get them.
Trying to get the parents to come get them. Chicago police can't tell me how many parents, but they came to get their kids. And some people just said, no, I need to take the CTA back to, let me get out of here. But why don't they arrest them like they did in Newport Beach, California? They arrested 402 teens. And that sends a message. Don't do this again. Don't come here.
Am I allowed to say bring back the paddy wagons, or am I not allowed to say that, Amy?
I don't even know if we have. No, they're still around.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I would hope so. Well, and that wasn't the only teen takeover. Goofies of Chicago reported this on X, a video from supposedly a police officer, I got to believe that it is her, from the south suburbs, said in Dolton Friday night, she says there were more than 1,000 surrounding police department, 1,000 kids out on this teen takeover, and surrounding police departments had to step in, and it took hours to restore order. She shared some of her thoughts about what she believes is the root of the problem, and warning also the parents about what is going on at these teen takeovers in case they didn't know. Here's just a small clip of her 9-minute rant.
Police, we had to go out there and corral these kids up to get them to a centralized parking lot. Canines had to pull their dogs out the car. Police officers out there with rifles. Cars with just sirens on, disturbing the residents. You had elderly folks that were scared to come out their house because it was so many kids out there. And you mean to tell me that y'all didn't know where the y'all kids were? One lady pulled up on us and was looking for her kid because she found out somehow that her child was out there, and she was saying that if she catch her kid, she was going to beat the living out of that child. And I wish I could have saw it. I'm not going to lie to you. This was really, really heartbreaking to me, because as these little girls was out there doing they whatever, and we riding around, we seeing grown ass men in their cars just driving around, just getting free shows, just watching these little girls. Whole time, y'all black ass parents supposedly didn't know where the your kids were.
Well, she said a lot more than that, but I think you get the gist of her point. Where are the parents? Where are they policing this? I mean, this is the type of stuff that these Napervillian 70-year-olds don't understand. They don't get it. They rather protest this than solve real problems that we have on the streets.
And that's the thing. And they protest elderly people getting in ICE agents' faces. Kids watch that. They see that. Then when they try and stop them and get arrested, what happens? Look at the 4 kids, those 4 poor souls, a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 14-year-old from Palatine. The other 2 are from Woodstock, one from Crystal Lake. They were there was reports of somebody pointing a gun. This is on the south side near Cicero, and police, Illinois State Police, they initiated a chase. They didn't stop, and the kids, they drove off a bridge and they all died. I mean, it is horrific, but it's a mentality that's learned. There's no respect for authority. There's no respect for police. If you're getting pulled over, just pull over and obey.
Yeah, and you're right. They are learning from these hippies,
Yep.
That I guess have nothing better to do. They're obviously fairly well off, because otherwise they'd have better, bigger concerns. But instead, they're watching these people protest law enforcement and leading that charge. And what do you think you're teaching your grandkids, if you have any?
And again, next week, because it's going to happen again. And this stuff doesn't just happen on the weekends anymore, folks. It happens during the weekdays because the kids are still out of school. Arrest the kids for maybe anything, disorderly conduct. Do something rather than gather them around in a circle and try and find their parents. Because it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, so much to talk about this. We've got some really good guests for you today. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk about a controversy with a judge in the state of Illinois. And then we'll also mention that judge who has major TDS issues here in Chicago.
Oh,
we want to hear about what she posted.
We'll begin there with Jeff Fielder, who's executive director of the Chicago GOP.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's the real story on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom. A look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
During the War for Independence, General George Washington, the man we refer to today as the father of our country, led American troops through military defeat after defeat. And in the bitter winter of 1777, he wrote this somber note to a friend in Philadelphia. Quote, "You might have tracked our army from White Marsh to Valley Forge by the blood on their feet," end of quote. Many soldiers continued to march through the deep snows of Pennsylvania without shoes. Others suffered from disease, hunger, and freezing conditions. Nearly 2,000 of Washington's men died. Yet George Washington did not lose faith. Amid the hardship, loss, and uncertainty of Valley Forge, he turned to God in prayer. At a time when our nation once again faces division and uncertainty, may we follow Washington's example, kneeling humbly, praying faithfully, and asking God to guide the future of America.
The mainstream media isn't just biased, they're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
It's peaceful here. Quiet. But it wasn't always. Here, the past isn't confined to textbooks or museums. It's in the soil, a pulse within the earth. Here, you can walk in step with history, where others once marched towards the unknown. The past is never really behind us. It's here, under our feet. The land never forgets the stride of the weary or the reach of the hopeful. The land remembers. And so does the American Battlefield Trust, dedicated to preserving America's hallowed battlegrounds. Now, on our nation's 250th birthday, become a member so the next acre becomes the next chapter. The next chapter becomes the next lesson. Join the trust. Protect the future. Go to battlefields.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, I got to tell you, Amy, how can you expect justice when you have judges like Cynthia Ramirez? I mean, these teens who may get arrested occasionally, or, you know, you had, a number of them go ahead on a looting spree. About 6 to 8, 10 gangs went on a looting spree in the Loop area over the weekend. How do you have them know that you're going to get justice for what happened to you if you're a victim, if you're in front of Cynthia Ramirez? CWB Chicago reporting, a Cook County Circuit Court judge has publicly called President Donald Trump a modern-day Hitler.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, and then she also wrote on her X account, F at CK ICE. You know what that means. You know what that means, right?
And she's still on the bench.
Yeah. She's shared partisan political messages on Facebook over the past 7 years. CWB Chicago review of her public account showed. Despite the post, there's been no indication that any attorney, bar association, or other individual has filed a judicial conduct complaint against Judge Cynthia Ramirez, even though the Illinois Code of Judicial Conduct cautions judges about expressing opinions through social media. But
she didn't care because she's above the law.
Yeah.
She's a judge. Look at her go. Well, that's quite the opposite story of what happened to another Cook County judge who has zero freedom of speech. And he claims that he did not get a fair shake because he supported Trump. With more on that, let's welcome back to the program Jeff Fiedler, Executive Director of the Chicago GOP. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, ladies. It's good to be back. Thank you. I'm good today.
So tell us about this Judge James Brown and what happened to him.
So James, thank you. Yes. So James Brown served in Cook County on the bench for 18 years. He retired in 2020. Sometime this past fall, back in 2025, he wrote an article on the lawfare that Illinois politicians and Democrat activists were waging against Trump and the Trump administration. And he particularly pointed out people in Illinois. So that was probably in around November. In December, the Illinois Supreme Court actually recalled James Brown, who had been retired for 5 years or so, because of the case overload in Cook County. And they assigned James Brown to traffic court because of an overburdened system in Cook County. So remember, traffic court. This is kind of like a tennis game that you play on two courts that are next to each other. Two law associations, the Democratic lawyers in Cook County Bar, which are mostly black lawyers and judges in Cook County, representing black lawyers and judges in Cook County, and then the Chicago Council of Lawyers demanded that the Illinois Supreme Court rescind his appointment because he was unfit, all due to this column he wrote as a retired judge back in the fall, right? So they rescinded, the Illinois Supreme Court rescinded his appointment, like they took him out in January, right? And basically because he had, made these statements about lawfare, and he also made the mistake of criticizing Kim Fox and her alignment with the George Soros money and her instituting left-wing criminal justice reforms in Cook County, which basically left Cook County in chaos, as we all know. So they took his appointment away. In February, he turned around and he sued the Illinois Supreme Court for basically denying his First and 14th Amendment rights. And so and he sued them in federal court. So in federal court, so now we've moved over to the feds, right? In federal court, Judge Edmund Chang basically said that he agreed that his rights had been violated, but that he had to move this rescindment back and to the state courts. And so who did he give it back to? He gave it back to the Illinois Supreme Court, which Justice Brown is suing.
That's unheard of.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So in Judge Brown's, basically his lawsuit against the Supreme Court, he said they're overflowing with bias. And of course, these two lawyer associations are, getting 2 + 2 = 5 here, right? Mm-hmm. And he said that the Illinois Supreme Court lacked the authority to rescind his appointment and denied him his due process rights. Like there was no investigation, no hearing, nothing. And the Illinois Court Commission, which is an administrative agency, they're supposed to handle it. So this is kind of, like I said, a tennis game played on two different courts, right, that are next to each other. So he doesn't think it should be in state court, and so he's filing with the 7th federal court about his rights being violated. So, but what's interesting is Judge Edmund Chang, the federal judge, thought that his rights had been violated, but that he was in the wrong venue for this to be decided, and he referred it back to the Illinois Supreme Court. So this is kind of why this is stuff that happens under the radar. I mean, most people would glaze over if they had to read through all this. So I was trying to, basically dumb it down so that everybody gets it, right? Because it's complex law stuff. But but then you're right. We had Judge Cynthia Ramirez, who's on Facebook, like on a public forum, saying, F ICE and Trump's a modern day Hitler and all that. So I think Judge Brown has it right when he says the Illinois courts are overflowing with bias. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, obviously they are. Don Harmon, Senate president, in the 2022 election, spent $7.3 million to help elect Elizabeth Rochford and Mary Kay O'Brien. Mm-hmm. And he did that, quite frankly, the campaign money that he accepted at that time was in dispute until they decided that they couldn't fine him the $10 million that they wanted to because it was a split board at the Election Commission. So, I mean, this is the deal, though. They're bought and paid for at the Illinois Supreme Court. Sorry, it's just the truth. $7.3 million. It was the bulk of their money that took to get them elected came from one guy. Don Harmon's PAC. That's how this thing works out. And so, of course, they're going to, do whatever Pritzker wants as well. Let's face it, that money gets circulated around through unions and Pritzker over to Harmon. That's how it all works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're just showing. It's happening right out front of us. It's saying like the quiet part out loud with Judge Ramirez and what they're doing to Judge Brown. I mean, it's obvious that the Illinois courts are overflowing with bias. He's right. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes in federal court.
Okay, can we turn to another thing? You helped put together with Gianno Caldwell your own sort of protest rally about what's happening, and just wanted you to talk about how that went this Saturday.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it. I had something else going on, but the Caldwell Foundation put together basically a march against violence, and it was supposed to start at Morgan Park and take place on Saturday morning. And I know there was a lot of interest. I wasn't there, so I don't know how many showed up, but I think, and Amy knows, I think the mayor might have actually showed up.
Yes, he did.
So that would have been an interesting group of conservatives with Brandon Johnson.
Wow. Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't huge by any means, but it was well attended. And, you did a great job publicizing it, but I know some people are so against going to marches and things like that, which is really too bad. But tell us the story about his brother when he died and what happened.
Well, his brother, Christian, I believe he was a senior in high school and about to graduate, and he was just hanging out with friends. Seems like, everything Gianno's ever said was Christian was a great kid, and he had a great life in front of him. And he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, hanging out on a corner. And, a car goes by and shots ring out and Christian's hit and Christian dies. And, just because he stood on a corner with some of his friends, right? And they still haven't solved it. I mean, that still hasn't solved it. So Gianno's kind of taken the bull by the horns and came up with this foundation. And he's done a lot of work in the neighborhood and throughout the city of Chicago, as a sign to what he does for Fox News. And he's just doing the best he can. I mean, we have by no means heard the last from Gianno about this. I think he's got a future. He may come back to the state of Illinois and really shake up some things in the city of Chicago. I hope so.
Yeah, I'm surprised those Naperville 70s people didn't show up. They rather protest ICE than actually stand with Gianno Caldwell and what he's trying to do to stem the violence.
Yeah, you would think. You would think. But, hey, they got Brandon Johnson out there, so they can't be all bad, right?
Was he given a microphone at all? Did he say anything? Or was he just there?
I saw him with something. I saw a picture of him. I don't know if that's a microphone.
He was holding like an anti-violence torch. I don't know what that whole thing was. It was one of 4 public appearances he made on Saturday. So, he's like a clown at a parade. He just keeps going to different parades.
But they know that Gianno Caldwell is pretty much pro-Trump. He's a Fox News analyst and all that. And would Gianno be invited into a left-wing march or pro-rally?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. 100% not. But here, Brandon Johnson was allowed to show up.
All right, Jeff Idler, thank you so much for your time and expertise. He is the executive director of the Chicago GOP.
We'll be right back with State Senator Chapin Rose. You'll not want to miss it.
Shawnfest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/Shawnfest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUNfest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. Police in Seattle looking for at least one more suspect in a shooting at a food festival. 3 people are dead, 4 wounded, including a 2-year-old boy.
Police have one young adult in custody, but are looking for another. The 2 gunmen appeared to be shooting at each other. Police recovered 2 weapons at the scene. A 19-year-old and 44-year-old man died at the scene. A 56-year-old woman later died at the hospital.
Fox's William Lejeunesse. Wildfires have forced the evacuation of about 75,000 people in Spain, 250,000 in France.
In France's southwest Gironde region, there are signs the massive wildfires' destruction has slowed. The situation there described as globally stable. President Emmanuel Macron holds an emergency meeting today promising to rebuild and repair.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy's wife, Mia, is shot, not fatally, allegedly by their son. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a severe thunderstorm with partly sunny skies. It will be breezy, very warm, and very humid. The The thunderstorms may bring flooding, downpours, hail, and damaging wind gusts. The high temperature will reach 88 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We work a lifetime to build a legacy for our families, but the most enduring gift you can give them is the peace of mind you provide when they need it most. When you pre-plan your arrangements at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, you replace the weight of uncertainty with the gift of clarity. Secure today's costs and protect your family from making emotional and financial decisions at the time of need. It's a final act of love they'll never forget. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5400.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hey, it's Sean Thompson. You know, one day it's market volatility. The next day it's conflict overseas. Price jumps, confidence drops, and suddenly retirement feels less certain. When the latest headline pushes costs higher and stokes inflation fears, it can have a ripple effect on your investments and your budget. But here's the thing. Retirement shouldn't depend on perfect timing or on the latest geopolitical noise. Tom Fortino and the Alpha Wealth Group help families right here in the Chicago area build a plan to create income you can't outlive, control taxes, minimize risk, protect your assets, and prepare an estate and legacy plan. It's their 5-pillar retirement planning. Ready to learn more? To get your complimentary retirement roadmap and a retirement analysis today, schedule a meeting with Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group by calling 630-864-6711. That number again, 630-864-6711, or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, you need the best team on your side. Priority Tax Relief has helped thousands of Americans resolve their IRS problems and settle for pennies on the dollar. As a leading tax resolution firm, we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, hundreds of 5-star reviews, and a 4.9-star rating on Google because we deliver results and huge savings. If you owe $5,000 or more and even facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or IRS letters, call us today at 800-741-5015. Once you call, our tax professionals will call the IRS with you for free, and within minutes, start negotiating a settlement. We'll put a stop to collections and fight to get you the best settlement possible. Choose the company Americans trust most. Call Priority Tax Relief now at 800-741-5015 to see what relief you qualify for. Don't wait. Make the call. Dial 800-741-5015. Once again, that's 800-741-5015.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. We've got State Senator Chapin Rose on the line. He's the Minority Caucus Whip for the Republicans in the Illinois Senate. He previously served in the House, and he joins us from the 51st District, the Fighting 51st, down in the Urbana area. Chapin, thanks so much for coming on the show with us.
The Fighting 51st and Urbana don't exactly get along most days of the week. So let's just be clear. I'm everything around Urbana.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, because that would be Carol Amon's territory, would be Urbana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about her, but I want to remind folks, because this is what is really relevant. You wrote back in April 24th, 2015, it's on your website, NRI scandal, never again. Yeah. And in 2010, just weeks before the re-election, former Governor Pat Quinn unveiled a $55 million program supposedly aimed at curbing violence in Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods.
How'd that go?
Yeah, not. But
how's that working out for everybody?
$55 million just before the election. But due to widespread mismanagement, a lack of oversight, and a rush to spend the money ahead of Election Day, this was get out the vote money, by the way, the program served as little more than a political slush fund, catching the eye of multiple criminal investigations and a scathing state audit. And from that NRA audit, which nearly saw people go to jail and Governor Quinn being in hot water, although he ended up getting elected again. But then we had to wait 4 years for Rauner, and he was a failure. Anyway, I digress. They started the whole Grant Accountability and Transparency Act. I don't think that's working in the wake of this Carol Amons indictment.
So listen, what's interesting about this is apparently, the governor's defense was, well, we said no to her daughter, getting on the payroll several years ago, right? So then the question becomes, well, wait a minute, if you knew that she was trying this several years ago, how many other grants did you authorize after that? And why did you not, verify or look into or check into, during that time, the status of where the actual dollars were going? Now, look, the other thing too is, let's be clear, these are allegations. She's been charged. She's entitled to, defend herself in court and have a jury, hear the facts and weigh the evidence, all that. What I think, though, is clearly on display is that grants, and these you see them all the time, every session, the budget suddenly goes, oh, look at that. There's another $300 million that pops in at the last minute, right before it gets voted on, of all these pork member initiative projects that, come out of nowhere. And then where is the follow-up and the transparency, over time? Now, there are a lot more rules after NRI. There's no doubt about it. And people often complain about how long it takes to get grants advanced under the GATA program. But as this shows, there are still people who are able to, after the fact, manipulate their local organizations, apparently, again, allegedly, into hiring family members and doing other things that, don't look very good. And we'll just leave it at that for now because she's entitled to her defense. But I will say, this is, to me, begs the question of, we need to look at all of our grants, like everybody's grants, and where do they go? What organizations are getting them? How are they being used? And again, we talk about this every budget year. Oh, look at that! There's this year's $300 million in pork to pass the budget, and you get groups. These just and you said a minute ago, Jeannie. Often this just becomes, Democrat walking around money, right?
Right.
There are absolutely legitimate grants out there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Fire, police, Boys and Girls Clubs. I mean, there are legitimate uses for these dollars. Mm-hmm. But when you apparently know that something was going down, denied one grant, but then went on to release countless others, wait a minute. There's real problems there.
Yeah, no, but let's face it. Breakthrough Ideas, you can look at it at our dogeil.com webpage, and we put up the FY27 budget grant requests that are in the budget. I mean, we go through this with a fine-tooth comb. We know what we're looking at, because this is our third year doing this, oh, by the way. And it's something that you should have in front of you as a legislator. Before you vote on the budget, you should be asking questions about every single grant. So there's like 1,100 lines with over $768 million identified on those lines. And these are just sort of the nonprofits. I didn't even include some of the extra grants that need to be looked at. But I mean, why is the Arab American Family Services, for example, getting $1.25 million? Why are they doing that? We have ethnic grants and religious grants and all these other stuff in there. I'm telling you, they're not actually providing a service.
Well, and look, if you want to look at this on a grander scale, if you look at immigration services, okay. Oh, yeah. If you go back, 5 years ago, the spending was, functionally zero. Today it's into the, hundreds of millions of dollars on these immigrant, networks and immigrant services and all these different organizations. And, I always like to categorize. So, like, what's not getting done? Well, for example, the immigrant welcome centers are getting tens of millions of dollars, but then our development disabled, the frontline workers to development disabled, the so-called DSPs, direct support providers, or direct service professionals, the people who bathe, feed, clothe, and take care of our most vulnerable population. Under J.B. Pritzker, in eight years, 8 budgets now, not one time have they got back to the same payroll level that they were at as a percentage of minimum wage when he took over. When they took over, they were making 150% of minimum wage. And not 1 year in 8 have they statewide made it back to 150% when he took over. Yet all these other things that didn't exist, have now just completely ballooned, and the expense of literally our most vulnerable. And that's what, I just lose my mind when I hear, Democrats tell me that, we care about people. Really? In 8 years, you can't get back to 150% for the development disabled? That's not care for my, I don't know where that, that's not the definition of care in my book, but, they say it, the media repeats it, and, sadly, some people in Illinois believe it.
Well, we had a big win for Illinois State Senator Chapin Rose. I'm sure you heard about it. A federal judge in the Southern District, his name's David Dugan. It's nice to give him some kudos. He ruled on Friday that several Illinois laws and provisions, including in-state tuition to illegal aliens, as unconstitutional. How much of taxpayer dollars were we paying to educate people that are here illegally? Because I heard $980 million, then I also heard $1.4 billion.
Yeah, I don't. So first of all, and I'm not dodging a question, I don't even know how you quantify it, because it's a waiver that's applied at the collegiate level. So you wouldn't even know how much it's adding up to, right? Because there's no reporting requirement for everybody from Northeast Illinois University to Southern Illinois University to report up how many waivers are actually being granted, at least not that I'm aware of. So I'm not even sure how you would quantify that number, okay? But let's be clear, there's a distinction out here that's important. If you came to Illinois and have been living here, graduated from high school here, and are in the immigration process, lawfully in the process of becoming a citizen, that is a totally different situation than granting a waiver to anyone who can get here, whether they're in a process or not, right? And that deprives, an interesting theory here from the Trump Justice Department was, look, you're not giving in-state tuition to people from Indiana. You're not giving in-state tuition to people from Iowa. So why are you denying the citizens of Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, Wisconsin, Kentucky, or New York for that matter, the right to in-state tuition in Illinois, and instead turning around and giving it to people who literally just got here? And that was what the judge found persuasive, and he should have. It's the correct reading of that.
Okay, so I did a little research on this, and apparently we actually had. We are providing in-state tuition since 2003. There was a law that was passed allowing undocumented or illegal aliens to get in-state tuition. There was almost no opposition to the bill, and that's the one. Those are the people you were talking about before. They were in a process and they were here.
That's a different thing, because there was an amendment filed to pass the bill that said they actually have to be in the immigration process of becoming a citizen. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I'll give you a perfect example from my district in Arcola, Illinois. We have numerous adults who come here illegally on work visas whose children come with them. They are here for, they grow up in Arcola. They graduate from Arcola High School. They're, every bit as American as anybody else, but, they weren't able to go to the University of Illinois or EIU or anywhere else, even though all their classmates could. Well, that's a different story. But even then, the point of that was, they had to be in the INS process to become a citizen, which you can't do as a child. You have to do it at the time anyway. You had to wait till you're 18. So the point of that was you had to be in the process of going ahead and fulfilling your American citizenship. All right. What Governor Pritzker did here recently in the law that was struck down is these are people who aren't even in any process of becoming citizens.
Right.
They didn't come here lawfully. They didn't come here legally, and they were just given, in-state tuition. Those are two fundamentally different cases, and an important distinction. And one is, frankly valid, and one is completely invalid. And when you're telling the people of Illinois that they're going to be paying tuition, in-state tuition for somebody who literally just got here yesterday, that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I agree. So where are we with the amount that we're spending on illegal immigrants this year? Yeah, can you quantify it all in the state budget?
Yeah,
because I think that's the other problem here. You can't. It's hard to quantify exactly how much we're spending on them.
That is, it's almost impossible. And you can try to throw out educated guesses, but I would clearly put it in the $1 billion category, and that would be the governor and the Democrats, after getting called on the carpet about all the free health care, did pare back some of that, but even then you're still doing a lot of free health care. Okay. And if you look at the amount of spending that comes through those programs, if you look at the amount of spending that comes through, these welcome centers and all these other, like we started the conversation, these direct grants to different so-called non-for-profits. And by the way, I think that's the other thing. Are these really not-for-profits, or are these just front groups, right?
Right. Oh, they are. They are.
I mean, is this the Catholic Charities, or is this some made-up group that's just cashing a check and making themselves rich?
Well, definitely the better Coalition for a Chinese American Community that's getting over $1 million in the budget. Yeah, they're an activist group because they talk specifically about getting out the vote. I mean, that's an activist group. They need to be shut down.
There was one that got money this year. I can't think of the name of it. But if you go to their webpage, within 2 clicks of their webpage is their voter registration activities.
Yeah.
And their get out the vote efforts. And it specifically referenced, and this is obviously dated now, but it specifically referenced get out the vote activities for Kamala Harris. So it's pretty clear what these groups are and aren't. And that's why I'm saying that this situation with Carol Ammons, every grant needs to be looked at.
So I think the Grant Accountability and Transparency Act, which I voted for, it came into being, and there was a commission on it in 2013. Finally, they passed in 2014. I voted for that. I was a sponsor of it. But I got to tell you, the website is really wonky and complicated, and nothing matches up between the budget, GATA, and the comptroller's office in terms of vendor contract payments. So, I mean, there's just no transparency whatsoever.
The GATA process, quite frankly, is so unbelievably cumbersome that it is purporting to bring us transparency when all it does is bring us, literally 18 to 24 month long delays while in the meantime, you have fairly significant issues that apparently just skate through or allegedly skate through, and I'll give you, for example, we had a courthouse problem down in Edgar County, Illinois, which for your listeners is about 2.5 hours directly south on Lakeshore Drive from Chicago in Paris, Illinois. And, by the time that the grant got there, about 24 months had transpired, and the cost of the courthouse project had gone up, so much that the grant was essentially useless because they couldn't afford to do it in the first place at that point. So it just real problems. I mean, but this is what you get from a single party control of a state where you have bureaucrats in charge, and basically they just don't, nothing gets done, right? Nothing gets done. And they tell everybody everything's fine. And the truth of the matter is, when all you do is peel back a single layer and you start seeing problems.
All right. Last question. Any movement on the Bears?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any special session called soon, do you think?
Yeah.
Because we're way past the beginning of summer. That's when they said they were going to decide whether or not you're going to have a special session.
You guys know this. I don't think anything's going to happen till lame duck, right? I mean, the Bears are smart enough to know that all the real shenanigans happen after the election's over, right? So I think that somewhere between now and, January 4th, something comes out of nowhere, no one's seen it, and then everyone has to make a decision. And again, I let's just go backwards in time and talk about a time when Illinois worked right. When Chicago was making a bid for the Olympics, they had and Pat Ryan was leading that for the state. There was a bill that came to Springfield, and it didn't just help Chicago; it helped the entire state of Illinois, and it got a lot of support to pass the bill from all over the state of Illinois, including guys like me from downstate. But that was fundamentally different than what was presented here this past spring when there was a bill that only deals with Chicago and doesn't help anybody else. Well, I'm happy to help Chicago, but you can't just leave us out of the equation, right? So we're all part of the same state. And if they want to bring us a bill and have some honest discussions about how, all of Illinois can be impacted in a positive way, I'm happy to talk about that. But if it's just going to be show up in the middle of the night and here's something that, keeps in Chicago, that's not anything my guys are interested in helping with. And, we'll see where it goes. But again, this single party dominant control thing, and frankly, it's tanked it because the Chicago people couldn't vote for their own bill to let it go to Arlington Heights. So now the Democrats are complete chaos.
Yeah.
And, they're all looking at each other like, well, why doesn't somebody do something? I don't know, guys. You got 2/3 of the General Assembly. You're in control. And you're so in control that now you can't get anything done, right? And so, it's just, I personally still think it's going to end up in Arlington Heights. That's my personal guess. But, I certainly wouldn't put any money on it. And y'all, let me be clear. Everybody in Chicago is freaked out about the Bears. What about Citadel? What about Boeing?
Yes.
What about Caterpillar? I mean, State Farm is functionally, in Dallas and Atlanta now. John Deere. Citadel Capital is the single largest taxpayer in the state of Illinois in terms of its payroll. Gone. So everyone is up like, well, oh my gosh, Chicago Bears. Well, where have you guys been for the last 5 years?
Exactly.
I mean,
that's what it took to wake them up.
This is ongoing. Our entire budget unhealthy. Look at Indiana. In about 2 months' time, they put a competitive bid, a credible competitive bid on the table that got the Bears' interest in Indiana in 2 months' time. And in 2 years, the Democrat. I don't even. By the way, I would normally say they fumbled on the 1 yard line. I don't even think they were past the 50-yard line, but they fumbled the ball wherever they were. So. And by the way, I go back in time and I look at how. I wish Chicago had won the Olympics bid.
Absolutely.
It would have been awesome for the city. It would have been awesome for the state of Illinois, and they didn't. And that's unfortunate. But that is how you could get all of Illinois. That's the template for getting all of Illinois interested in helping all of us dig out of where we're at. And frankly, losing the Bears is a huge black eye. But it may be what it takes to get some of these folks to wake up to what they've, the destruction they've wrought to our economy in Illinois.
He's Chapin Rose. He's the state senator for the 51st District and a truth teller all around and very informed. So much appreciated to have your commentary here on this channel. Chapin, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yep, absolutely. Have a nice day, guys.
You too. All right, we'll be right back with your questions. 312-642-5600.
Exposing the lies and the misinformation from the politicians and the media. This is The Real Story on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
For a lot of workplaces, the work week doesn't end on Friday. That's why there's EasyCater, the best way to order food from favorite restaurants for your hardworking team, even on weekends. With EasyCater, you'll find great options for any group size and any shift, with tools to help meet dietary needs, stay on budget, and simplify expenses, all backed by our award-winning 24/7 support. EasyCater, your Monday through Sunday workplace food platform. Start an order for your weekend crew at easycater.com.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
During the War for Independence, General George Washington, the man we refer to today as the father of our country, led American troops through military defeat after defeat. And in the bitter winter of 1777, he wrote this somber note to a friend in Philadelphia. Quote, "You might have tracked our army from White Marsh to Valley Forge by the blood on their feet," end of quote. Many soldiers continued to march through the deep snows of Pennsylvania without shoes. Others suffered from disease, hunger, and freezing conditions. Nearly 2,000 of Washington's men died. Yet George Washington did not lose faith. Amid the hardship, loss, and uncertainty of Valley Forge, he turned to God in prayer. At a time when our nation once again faces division and uncertainty, may we follow Washington's example, kneeling humbly, praying faithfully, and asking God to guide the future of America.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, there is, hold on one second.
Our listeners are a little sleepy today.
Well, the thing is, there's a really nasty storm. During our interview with State Senator Chapin Rose, I could hear the hail hitting the side of the building. And unfortunately, I parked outside today. Darn it. I hope everything's... I don't know why, because I got to get out of here quickly. So, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. But
Amy doubles as a weatherman?
Yes, I do. But the National Weather Service, severe thunderstorm warning, hail, all of that until 1 o'clock. Now, back in South Dakota, you used to run around in this stuff, huh? Like try to catch the hail with your mouth?
Not quite.
You said you used to watch tornadoes.
Yeah, we would. I mean, you can see them from a distance. But I just hope it doesn't damage the sweet corn.
Oh.
I'm waiting for the sweet corn to come in.
Oh, that's so good.
I know
That is good. But yes, but thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. As always, we're here for you, and you can always reach us and watch us on YouTube. Please do. Breakthrough Ideas YouTube channel or 560 The Answers Facebook page or Breakthrough Ideas Facebook page.
And you can catch our podcast at AM 560 in the podcast listing.
Yes, have a wonderful week. God bless you. God bless this state. Lord knows we need it. And God bless America. Have a great day.